In last video, we have discussed escape velocity and some questions on this. Today we will continue few more questions. So today's first question is, as we know, whenever we project a particle from the surface of the earth with a velocity VE, that is escape velocity, then it reaches to the place where gravitational force of the earth is zero. That is, the particle escape out of the gravitational force or gravitational field of the earth. There we come to know that, we assume that when we project with a velocity VE, then as the particle goes on, moves up, then at this height, when it reaches to this height, its velocity becomes zero. But today, if I project with a velocity v greater than escape velocity, then question is, with what velocity the particle enters into the space? That is, v dash equal to how much? With what velocity it enters into the space is the question. Okay, for that method remains same. That is, we have to apply law of conservation of energy on the surface of the earth as well as at this infinity. Now, that is, kinetic energy initial plus potential energy initial means on the surface of the earth, is equal to kinetic energy final plus potential energy final means at infinity. Here on the surface of the earth, kinetic energy is half m naught. Say m naught is the mass of the particle which we are projecting. V square, v is the velocity with which it is projected, plus potential energy is minus capital G, capital M naught divided by R, where capital M is the mass of the earth and R is the radius of the earth, is equal to kinetic energy when it reaches to this point, that is half m naught v dash square. Since it is out of gravitational force of the earth, hence potential energy is zero. Now we have to simplify. As we know, in this term we have m naught, in this term we have m naught, here also we have m naught. So m naught we can take out and we can cancel and multiply all terms by 2. Then we can expect that v square minus 2 capital G capital M by R is equal to v dash square. Okay, so today I am interested in this v dash. So we know that this 2g into capital M by small r is nothing but escape velocity. Since we know that escape velocity is given by under root of 2 capital G capital M by R, means this is nothing but VE square. So V square minus VE square is equal to V dash square. So today I am interested in this V dash, with what velocity it enters into the space, that is V dash is equal to under root of V square minus VE square. This is the expression. And in most of the books, they asked that if we project with a speed equal to n times of escape velocity, then with what velocity it enters into the space is the normal way of asking this question. That is, if it is n into VE, then what would be your answer? If V is equal to n into escape velocity, hope you can write this easily. That is, V dash is equal to, maybe VE will be common, then under root of n square minus 4. This is your final expression. Okay, note down. Next JEE question, that is, suppose, imagine here is a sun, it is a sun, it's a line joining sun, and say it is a earth, it is earth. This previously appeared JEE advanced question, earth. Here it is given that mass of the sun is equal to 3.5 into 10 to the power 5 times mass of the earth, and a radius of sun is equal to 2.5 into 10 to the power 4 times radius of earth. Then if you project a particle, question is, if you project a particle of mass m0 away from the sun along the line joining center of sun to the center of earth, along this line away from the sun, if you project, then what is the escape velocity is the question. Hope you understood the question. When you project a particle of mass m0 from the surface of the earth away from the sun along a line joining sun and earth, when mass of the earth is this much and radius of the earth is this much. Hope you understood the problem. Let's solve. See, once again, to find out this kind of velocities, we are using law of conservation of energy. As you know, to find out the escape velocity, we have to send the particle to infinity. At infinity, we are considering velocity becomes 0 and potential energy becomes 0. That is, field becomes 0. Then according to law of conservation of energy, initial kinetic energy plus final kinetic energy is equal to initial kinetic energy plus initial potential energy is equal to final kinetic energy plus final potential energy. So initial kinetic energy is half m0 VE square plus initial potential energy. For this particle, potential energy is due to earth as well as due to sun, right? That is Cr plus, sorry, it is not the radius of the sun. It's a distance between center of sun to the center of earth, d. Okay, d. Okay, plus initial potential energy means minus capital G mass of the earth into m naught divided by radius of the earth plus potential energy due to sun minus capital G mass of the sun into m naught divided by, from here to here is d and up to here means we have to add radius of the earth, that is d plus radius of the earth is equal to. So at infinity I said kinetic energy becomes 0 as well as potential energy becomes 0, hence total final potential energy is 0. Hope now you can substitute and simplify to get the answer. See, in all terms m naught is common. If I take that m naught out and if I send that side, it will be 0. Therefore I can remove this m naught. Then VE square by 2 minus capital G mass of the earth divided by radius of the earth plus into minus minus capital G mass of the sun is nothing but okay, I'll write later. Mass of the sun divided by radius, distance is 2.5 up to here plus radius means it will be 3.5. Later I can write that also directly. Is equal to 0. In these two, okay, fine, I would have substituted directly. Okay, one step is becoming extra. Minus capital G, I can take common in these two. ME, this becomes plus ME plus MS, it is RE, this is D plus RE is equal to 0. Then escape velocity square by 2 minus capital G, then mass of the earth is nothing but ME as it is, I should write ME as it is, divided by RE plus this is MS is nothing but 3.5 into 10 to the power 5 mass of the earth divided by 2.5 plus RE means 3.5 into 10 to the power 4 into RE. Hope you are understanding. This is equal to 0. Then it will be escape velocity square by 2 minus capital G. Here we know this and this cancels. 10 to the power 5 to 10 to the power 4 means I can write one more step extra, ME by RE plus 10 ME by RE equal to 0. Then escape velocity square by 2, this is nothing but 11 ME by RE. Okay, if I sign that side it will be plus 11 capital G capital M E by RE, right? Then This is escape velocity in the present case. So if I multiplied by 2 and divided by 2, then you know this is nothing but escape velocity on surface of the earth. Square escape velocity on the surface of the earth square. Its value is nothing but 11.2 kilometer per second square. Okay. Then I can write it that only. And you know here this 2 and this 2 I can cancel. Then VE square is equal to 11 into 11.2 kilometer per second square. If I take root, VE is equal to 11 root 11 into 11.2 is the answer. Or it may be VE is equal to 3 point something into 11.2 kilometer per second is the answer. Okay, you can verify. Actually it was integral type. The options were 22 kilometer per second, 44 kilometer per second, 66 kilometer per second, and maybe 80 kilometer per second were the answers. Here probable answer is if it is 4, I think it's 42, something I don't know exactly, maybe in 40s. See, we know that if it is 3, that is 33.6. If it is 4, that is 44.8. We know that it is more than 3, less than 8. That is, this value is greater than 33.6 kilometer per second but less than 44.8 kilometer per second. So greater than 33, less than 44 means this is the possible answer. Okay, this like this the answers were there, but I don't know exact the options. So this is our one of the question which we got in escape velocity. After this escape velocity, we'll move to next, Kepler's laws of planetary motion. Okay, see, next is Kepler's laws of planetary motion, are simply Kepler's laws of motion. Since these laws are given by Kepler regarding to the motion of planets, hence it is called as Kepler's laws of planetary motion. Kepler gave 3 laws. One related to the orbit, shape of the orbit, second related to the area of the orbit and mean size of the orbit, third related to the speed of the planet. Okay, first we'll move to orbit law, that is the shape of the orbit, that is called as Kepler's first law, law of orbit. Law of orbit. Law of orbit, it is also called as first law. So I am not going in detail of this, directly I am moving to the points which are required for NEET or JEE. Okay, see what this Kepler's first law say. Let's say all planets moves around the sun in elliptical orbits with sun is at one of the foci, right? That is, according to this law, the shape of the orbit around the sun is elliptical. That is, the planet moves around the sun in an elliptical orbit with sun is at one of the focus. That is, sun is not at the center, sun will be somewhere here. Set the position of sun. Planet moves in this path. This path is our called orbit. Right. Now, so according to this, assume for a minute, if I take this is here, this is called as C, or still basic algo, I think you know everything. So this is called as major axis, this is called minor axis. This is the radius of major axis. Radius of major axis. I am taking it as A. Then from here to here it will be 2A. It will be 2A. And this is called minor axis. Then this is B. Radius of minor axis. From here to here it will be 2B. Okay. So as we know, here to here distance of the sun from the center, if I take it is C. It is C. Then how much ellipse it is decided by radius of major axis and the value of C. How much ellipticity of the orbit is decided by eccentricity. This you might have studied in mathematics. Eccentricity represented by E. That is given by C divided by A. C means the distance of the sun from the center. A means radius of major axis. You know C is always less than A. Hence, value of C is greater than 0 but less than 1. Less than 1. If E is 0, then it is more ellipse. It is more elliptical. If C is 0, it is more elliptical. Okay. So if E is equal to 1, E is equal to 1. 1 means both are equal. Okay. So then I think it's not necessary more. Now this is the position which is very much far from the sun. Far position. It is very closer position. So this far position is called apogee or epihelon. Epihelon. So this is a right. It is very closer position, that is called perigee. Perigee or perihelon. Perihelon. Right? And assume here to here distance is called radius of perihelon. Distance of perihelon, and it is called radius of epihelon. Epihelon. Okay. Then according to this, so here I can say one more. E can be written as C can be written as E into A or AE. Then according to this RA, radius, distance of apogee, can be written as A plus C, A plus C, and C can be written as AE, A plus AE. Then radius of apogee is A common, 1 plus E. Similarly, you can write radius of distance of perihelon. This can be written as, this is nothing but A, right? RP can be written as A minus C. A minus C. If you simplify, it will be equal to A common 1 minus E. Please practice this, right? Please copy this if you want. Then what is the relation between radius of major axis and radius of minor axis? In mathematics you have studied that b square is equal to a square in bracket 1 minus e square. This is the relation between radius of major axis and radius of minor axis. Okay, hope you might have remember this. Based on this, we have many more questions. That questions we can see later. Now we'll move to second, that is law of area. Law of area. This is called as Kepler's second law. Just now we have seen all planets moves around the sun in an elliptical orbit, which sun is at one of the foci. Say it is a sun. Around this sun, in different around the sun, planets are revolving in an elliptical orbit. So, according to this, one second. So this is the line joining, say it is a planet, sun and the planet, the line joining sun and the planet is called as radius vector. Radius vector. Line joining sun and planet is called as radius vector. According to this law, this radius vector sweeps equal areas in equal intervals of time. Assume it moves from here to here. Say it moves from point A to point B in time dt. Then it moves from, say, C to D in the same time dt. That is to cover this much area. It has taken dt time, and it has taken same time dt, it has covered this much area. According to second law, area, that is CSD, this CSD area is equal to area of ASB. So this is called as law of area. That is, line joining sun and planet sweeps equal areas in equal intervals of time. Right? So, and this, according to this, I can say, that is, if it covers equal area means its aerial velocity. Aerial velocity of the planet remains constant. Aerial velocity of the planet remains constant. What is this aerial velocity? If I say A, then dA by dt called as aerial velocity. This remains constant, right? So copy this. Then, so for convenience, here once again if I take is a planet, so it is a sun. See, if I take, it travels a small distance here, then in this small interval of time dt, it has traveled a very small distance. During this small distance traveled, I assume velocity remains constant, that is v. Then how do you write this area? This assumed to be a triangle. Then area of triangle can be written as half into base. This acts like a base called as radius into this length. This length can be written as velocity into time, v into dt. Therefore, if I write dA by dt, its aerial velocity dA by dt is equal to d by dt of half r v dt, and dt cancels, then dA by dt, that is aerial velocity, is equal to half into rv. So as we know that this is called aerial velocity, if I multiplied by m and divided by m, you know, this aerial velocity, assume it as a constant. This is nothing but mvr is nothing but angular momentum divided by 2m is equal to constant. If I send this 2m, that's it, because mass of the planet remains constant, then final conclusion is m means angular momentum remains constant. Hence, I can say, while planet is revolving around the sun, its angular momentum remains constant. This is our second law called law of orbit. Here we have two questions on this. One second. See, based on this law of conservation of angular momentum, I can arrive one more relation here. That is, angular momentum of the planet at apogee is equal to angular momentum of the planet at perigee. Angular momentum means mvr is equal to mvr. So mass of the planet at apogee as well as at perigee are same, but velocities are different. Here it is apogee, here it is perigee. Here you know m and m get cancels. Then velocity of the planet at apogee divided by velocity of the planet at perigee, means I am bringing this Vp this side, that's all, is equal to radius of perigee divided by radius of apogee. Hope you might have remembered I told Rp by Ra. In first law I said this is nothing but 1 plus E divided by 1 minus E. Hence, the velocity of the planet at apogee divided by velocity of the planet at perigee is equal to 1 by e plus 1 plus e divided by 1 minus e. Note down. Okay, so there is one more question based on this. If the distance of the planet from the sun is equal to r, then its angular momentum say L. If distance d dash is equal to 16r, then what is the angular momentum L dash is the question. Please try. I'll give you 1 minute time. See, come back. As I told here, angular momentum remains constant. L is equal to m v r. That is what I am asking. So here, question is, say it is a sun. Two planets are revolving. One is revolving at a distance r. Another is revolving at a distance 16r. Then what is the ratio of their angular momentum is the question. See, L is equal to m as it is. M means mass of the planet which is revolving. So V means orbital velocity, which is given by capital G, capital M divided by R. This is R. If I take this R inside the root, it becomes R square. I will take this M inside also. Capital G, capital M. If I take inside small m square, if I take this small r inside, it is R square by R. This 1r cancel. And here capital G, capital M, small m are constant. Hence I can say L directly proportional to under root of R. Mostly you can write L dash by L is equal to under root of D dash by D. Probability is 4. L dash is equal to 4L. This is called as law of area. So third law is law of period. I think this already we have discussed in the previous headings. In orbital velocity we have discussed this more. Even I derived an expression for time period of a satellite revolving around the Earth. So today I will repeat in short law of period. So according to this, square of the time period is directly proportional to cube of radius of semi-major axis. Square of the time period is directly proportional to cube of radius of semi-major axis. So this is our law of period, and most of the questions already we have discussed on this. Okay, let us take one or two examples on this. Suppose if I take ratio of radius of semi-major axis of three planets, that is A1 is to A2 is to A3 is 0.5 is to 1 is to 1.5. Then what is the ratio of their square of the time periods? T1 square is to T2 square is to T3 square is the question. So pause the screen and try. It's easy. Okay, see here, if I multiplied by 2 for all, this 0.5 is to 1 is to 1.5 is nothing but 1 is to 2 is to 3. You know, square of the time period is directly proportional to cube of the radius of semi-major axis. If I make it cube, it will be 1 is to 8 is to 27. Hope you got this answer. Okay, next question. Suppose if A1 is to A2 is equal to 1 is to 4, then what is a T1 is to T2 is a question. Hope it is also very much easy. Okay, do it fast. Square of the time period is directly proportional to cube of the radius. See, if I take T1 by T2 whole square is equal to A1 by A2 cube. See here, T1 by T2 is equal to A1 by A2 raised to half whole raised to cube. Okay, so hope it is 1 is to 4 is nothing but 1 by 4 means can be written as 1 by 2 whole square. Root means it is 1 by 2, 1 by 2 cube is nothing but I think simplify you get it as 1 by 8 I think is the answer. Do it fast. And my last question on this is, see, it is a most common problem already appeared in our Karnataka CET as well as in previous JEE as well as in AIPMT, that is in NEET. Okay, that is if gravitational force between planet and sun inversely proportional to nth power of the distance, then how time period T varies with R. How T varies with R is the question. Already this kind of questions I have taken in previous also. For that, so we know that for any particle to move in a circular path, they require centripetal force. Here that centripetal force is given by gravitational force of attraction. Here centripetal force is m v square by r. Here gravitational force is capital G. Mass of the sun, say mass of the satellite planet small m, divided by r to the power n. This and this cancels. If I take that side, it will be numerator. If I bring this, it becomes minus 1, right? So v square is equal to capital G. Please write step by step, you get the answer. R to the power n minus 1. We know that velocity is nothing but distance traveled divided by time taken. For one complete rotation, distance traveled is 2 pi r. Time taken is called time period. Hence I can say it is 2 pi r divided by capital T whole square is equal to capital G capital M by r to the power n minus 1. So today I am interested in capital T and R relation. So directly I will remove, since this here 2 pi constant, here gm constant. Therefore I can write r square by t proportional to 1 by r to the power n minus 1. Then t proportional to r to the power n plus 1. This is the relation. Okay. Check it once again. Is it correct? Sorry, here it is t square. T square. This is t proportional to r to the power n plus 1 divided by 2. Here we know that today force varies inversely proportional to square, means n is equal to 2. If I put n is equal to 2, it will be 2 plus 1 is 3. T square directly proportional to cube of the radius. Okay, so last few minutes I have taken little bit fast to complete this topic. Okay, so this, if you have any doubts, you can ask questions on my WhatsApp number, right? Hope this you understood. This completes our one of the most important topic in the first year, gravitation. And next we'll start next topic in part 2 of first year. And some students are demanding few topics. Today on my WhatsApp number, tell me which topic I should start in the part 2 of first year. Please tell me. Okay, we'll continue in the next video.